Okay, so this is a fill-in video where I left off of my tilt column. Here's where your 4 bolts usually go when you have a loose steering. It's these 4 bolts are loose, and as your looseness, mine were tight, so that was a scary thing. And you look in here, there's supposed to be metal supporting this shaft here, so that does not do that. So this is all supposed to be tight. So my metal I found down in here, so that is all part of my steering tube. I'm going to try and get the whole thing out and possibly get it welded. I don't see why I can't just tack weld this in place. That's how I would want it. I don't think it rotates. Okay, I guess the inside has to rotate. No, yeah, but this could be totally tack welded. Anyway, I'm gonna see what I'm gonna do. I gotta get the whole column out. I took off the lower bearing. You can see that's how I got the whole shaft to pull out. Lower bearing is bad as well. Anyway, so it's never the easy ones for me. Here's my pieces. Somebody broke off, but I can see exactly where they go, which is going to help my situation. I might either buy the welder I always wanted on Harbor Freight. It's a big sale right now. This one right there. Let's try and do this one hand. Okay, let's get in there with the camera. This one goes right there. And what these do is they hold that in place so it doesn't move, and you bolt your bolts to that. But somebody must have had loose bolts and just kept beat the crap out of this. Yes, most people would throw this out, get a new column, but I just need 2-3 welds. Just gonna press this out and this will come off, and that'll get a welder in there easier. All right, so I went ahead and mocked this up with magnets. This is where my weld is broken, and that's where that's what holds this from spinning. Same with this is the biggest piece that was broken off on mine, and so I'm gonna have to weld all along behind. Bzz, 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 bzz. And this one's vital because it holds that right there. It sits right in that notch right there. And that's what keeps it from spinning or getting loose. So I don't know. Harbor Freight's got a good deal on a welder right now. I've been meaning to buy one. I'm gonna need one for other stuff. Sorry about that. The phone rang right in the middle of that. The only other concern is where these sit in the bowl here. I have some, if you could see that, there's some marring on the aluminum. I could clean that out. And then the other piece was that, you saw this from above, this is how it sits in the column, that crack. And that's lifted. And that's going to be important because I think this one sits in there. And if it's got some play, I don't think you can heat this and bring it down. I think that's the trouble with hot metal, it's just going to crack. So this is where, unless you can buy these, this is like 100 and something from what I've seen. You're getting into steering column replacement. There's 100 and something there. If you can find a tube. I thought I did find one. Another 200. You might as well get a column if I can. So part of me just wants to try and fix this one. And then it's the weekend. I can't order a column until Monday anyway. I think I found a place that does have one, because I want to retain the tilt column. 74 period correct. I don't know, we'll see. See if I can flatten that out. Maybe not. Well, I did it. I went to Harbor Freight, bought that welder. I got the last one. I had to go to 2 different locations. I also got a Weld, which is a stick weld you do for aluminum like this. You just kind of heat it up with a torch and lay the rod right in there. And it'll do a nice solid weld. And I cleaned this up inside out too. That's where these pieces sit right in there. Not exactly this location, but that type of deal. I went and cleaned these up, because these are going to be actually welded with the flex welder I bought. But I'm not going to start on that. I got this old battery tray I did. It's about the same thickness, roughly. Just maybe a little hair thicker. This is going to practice welding, because I haven't been welding in maybe 20 years, so I'll get some practice on these to see if the heat's right. Then I'll tackle the column. I cleaned up the other end of the column too, where those pieces go. So, yeah, wish me luck. Alright, so this is what I picked up, titanium flux 125. Harbor Freight, great reviews. It's only 15 pounds. Super lightweight, great for what I'm doing. Did some practice shitty welds. Like I said, it's been 30 years since I've done anything. On this old battery tray, I'll go get the column now and lay it out here and see what I can do. Got her mocked up, these magnets holding everything in place. Let's get a tack right there. Definitely not the prettiest. I do have to grind it down anyway, flush. So that means I can do the inside of both of these. I'm pretty sure this goes right here. I think there's a slot over there, so this is gonna slide on that way. So yeah, I'm gonna obviously grind that enough to fit it in that groove and clean this up. This, I tried a weld. And the aluminum stick must be the same. This is not really aluminum, it's die cast, I'm guessing. But this is so thin down here, the whole thing started melting before the rod did, or right about the same temp. So if I laid the rod on there, they both would it wouldn't stick. I could have the wrong stuff, if anyone knows. Maybe aluminum is not. This is, I don't know what this is. I just assumed pot metal, aluminum, something, die cast. I don't know what this shit is, but anyone knows, feel free to let me know. Maybe some JB Weld, old school. But I think that, I don't know if I think that's gonna be strong enough. I don't think it had a purpose anymore. It's actually pretty strong now that it heated and sealed. I just gotta clean it up a bit. Ooh, so I got that fitted. I think I just need to get some work to get this in there perfectly, but that's how she's gonna sit. She's supposed to rub against those marks. This, I may have to take up some slack here. This might go down further. Actually, maybe not. But yeah, this is really in depth. I hope nobody has to go this far in the column. Obviously, I think a lot of people just junk it. But where this sits, it looks like I could still get a bead weld inside. Grind that down, and this goes right in there. A little trimming, a little fit and trim, and I think I'll be there. That's how they fit when she's bolted together, in case anybody's wondering. My weld's under here. So I have a little bit of slack. I totally have room in there. I can get a weld on the inside, on both sides. Yeah, there's total like a eighth inch gap in there. There's from the front, top your column, tilt, shifter goes over here. Your bolts. Now my only other concern is the shaft where the shifter and the bowl mount goes down here, and it's now separated. If they just slip together in here, and I'm assuming they were crimped, or there was no spot weld, but I'm gonna have to maybe drill a hole and join those two together inside. Maybe just a tack weld, but we'll get there. Here's what I'm talking about on that. There's two pieces here. Like newer vehicles, there's like some nylon bushing in there. But if I spin this, I gotta join these. I gotta join here. I'll put this down. I gotta join these two again because they slide either way now. And that's what makes you shift. You turn that shift, so it has to be joined. But look, there's a nice hole right where it needs to be. I think they planned that. I can either do, there's probably another 1/4 inch underneath here, so I could put like a self tapper or some JB Weld or another buddy, or just there's like little marks. There's a little channel there. I could just dimple this, dink dink. I don't know if that'd be strong enough. I don't know. It's just the force of the shifter. So as long as everything's working properly, you shouldn't have to force your shifter. So I'll figure out something there. And I'm so happy I did this. This is gonna work great. I'm getting good light here. Jesus, probably over here would be good. There we go. Not the best welds, obviously, but I got both sides, so I know I penetrated through. I could have played around a little more, obviously, but this is strong. And a little bit of a flare out, maybe, but I think that's, once you clamp everything in, with that bowl, I think it's gonna work. So, I'm excited, man. I'm so glad I bought a welder. It's been a long time since I wanted one. All right, now going back together, this was tricky. There's one video I found. It's Master Locksmith. Video quality was horrible, but this guy showed getting the plate underneath here, because now if these tangs are in the way, it doesn't fit. And he was bending these out of the way, like a lot. And I was like, ooh, that means you gotta have good welds or good metal. So I was able to just bend a little bit with each. Got this plate in there. Now I'm putting the washers and snap ring in. It goes big wave washer underneath this plate, and then another washer, and then there's a clip that goes down in there. But I'm still all test fitting because I got to figure out that shifter afterwards once it's all in place. All right, that's fitting lovely. Shift smooth. I don't know if this lip sticking up that much is normal, so I'm gonna go by mine, because I did pound this up and down trying to get this bowl out before I realized that it came apart in two, and once the bottom came out. So it looks like this is gonna be in that position. This is for the neutral safety, so that's going to be right there. If I put the switch in and look at my wear marks, I know exactly that. Actually, it was over, let's see, oh, it's going to go way over. So this was actually down here more. See those little wear marks from the bolt? Nut. So that's actually, hold on, that's actually park, because then the switch goes. So if I were to get everything else lined up, that and park, that's park, and that's park, I'm gonna have to go through here, like I said, and I'm almost at the mark I made earlier. Either, I don't know, I got the welder, it's kind of too hard to get in there and tack it, but We'll just do a small self-tapping screw. But I'm gonna go get the shaft right now and make sure, see how much room I do have once the shaft's in there. All right, upon reassembly, from the top of my column, so the outpout shaft was too short. This was not, this was flush with the column. It was like right there. It's supposed to be like there. So I don't know if I had collapsed this. Usually it's in an accident, but the nylon will be blown out. This is where it was. I just marked it. And it pushed in easy, but it had some resistance. And I'm looking at this clean mark. I wonder if this was collapsed at one time. Who knows? But if I did any of that collapsing when I was working on this column, I still got it. It's not loose. No, it's still got, we don't want any play in there, but they are made to collapse in an accident. This one's still tight. I just got to lengthen it to get this back together and get everything to line up. All right, slowly putting her back together. This is how this goes together. There's plenty of videos on this. That's why I didn't show. I'd rather just work. Sorry about that, but yeah, people have trouble with this one. I don't know, the spring goes there, there. You can see that. Sorry, that fits there, and click, 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 on start. And you follow your, make sure your shift rod is in there. We call it a, I'm blanking. Anyway, forgot what they call that thing. Yeah, there's your switch. I just matched up my bolt marks where it was before. May have to adjust it, we'll see. Next is this beauty, ignition cylinder. And I'm gonna give this baby a coat of paint before she goes in, that's for sure. Oh, I almost forgot the little spring. I don't know if anyone else noticed. There's a little spring that goes right here. Oh, spring that goes there and falls off. So I'm gonna put some grease on that, make sure it's tight too. Yes, I forgot my spring. Don't forget your spring. There you go. Then I can put that on, right? Look at this, it's already falling off. I don't know. I tried tightening it up, it just keeps sliding off. Maybe once that's in there, let's hope. All right, what am I looking at? Had to come apart again. You know, like I said, everything was practice. From the get-go, this race was getting hung up here, even when I took the column apart first. It's just a little bit of build-up here, but nothing much. But now this is supposed to slide down. It has to go to, like, I don't know, maybe there. And this is crushed, and it wouldn't go over this. It was sitting out here, so I couldn't get my crush collar back down the snap ring. Such a pain in the ass. All right, that was it. That bearing was getting hung up. My plate was going on, it was bending. I was like, wait a minute. I wasn't even tightening it that much, but yeah, the bearing was getting hung up in the race and it just wouldn't go on far enough. I thought it was my shaft needed to come out longer because it did compress. What a nightmare. Well, everything works now. Check the tilt in a second. You have to adjust that neutral switch. But get this thing cleaned up, painted, and back in the truck. Maybe tonight. Oof. All right. This thing fought me tooth and nail from the get-go. Still kind of tacky. Put it out in the sun for a bit before I put it in. Yeah, I had everything fighting in this. I had it all done and had it up here painting. I didn't have it tied down and it fell. Broke off my turn signal switch, so I had to get that replaced or buy another one. But so that's back together. And I had this apart so many times that this plate started bending. So it's weakened, but now I got it straight. And I was having upper bearing and race issues. They wouldn't slide down the shaft, it was getting hung up. That's why this wouldn't go far enough. Everything just went far and far. Like I said, even from having to go and weld the tube because it was broken. I mean, you shouldn't have to do all this on a column. So, I'm gonna title this one, Everything You Didn't Want to Do to a Steering Column. Let's get it back in. She's back in the car. Saw some junkyard crayon down here. I'm thinking that says it was from an 87, right? Could be factory, I don't know. We got our official door propper opener. And this sucker here, check this out. This is a fiber optic light circuit for this one in the back of the cluster. This is a fiber optic light that would light the wiper switch. I had a difficult time finding this option. But I don't think mine works anymore. We'll have to check that out. But yeah, I got the cluster out still, of course. I'm gonna do some cleaning. Checked it, made sure it started. So the ignition switch is adjusted. It's going too smooth today.